Are you buying fake olive oil? I want you to hear what I've got to say about that. The vast majority of olive oil and avocado oils are adulterated. They did a study where they looked at these olive oils to see what was in them and found that 60 to 90% of the olive oils found in grocery stores are not pure olive oil. They are adulterated with cheap omega-6 vegetable oil, such as sunflower oil, peanut oil, or even non-human grade olive oils. And these bad oils can have a very harmful effect on your health. So I want to show you why you should be using olive oil, and then I'm going to show you how to find a good one. Let's look at 5 health benefits of olive oil. Number 1, decreased inflammation. Olive oil has something called oleic acid in it, which is very helpful. It's a fatty acid that is responsible for lowering inflammation. And as you know, if you've been following me or the 7 Systems Plan, inflammation is the root of all disease. So research suggests that oleic acid can reduce levels of important inflammatory markers. We can actually do blood tests and see high sensitivity C-reactive protein come down and interleukin come down in people who use olive oil. Number 2, reduced risk of stroke. Now that's a pretty good thing you want to reduce. 32 different studies looking at over 800,000 people found that olive oil was the only source of monosaturated fat associated with a reduced risk of stroke. So there's other good oils like avocado oil, but you want to reduce your risk of a stroke, you need to be using olive oil. Number 3, cardiovascular benefits. Olive oil intake has been shown to lower blood pressure. In fact, one study found that people who take olive oil, 48% of them were able to not need medications. And I want to tell you, you got to keep your blood pressure under control, but you don't want to be on blood pressure medication forever if you can help it. Studies found that a single dose of high phenolic olive oil, I'll show you what that is in a little bit, but it's a good one, increased endothelial function. Now that's the lining of your blood vessels that produces nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is very important for artery health. It's also important for sexual function. So that's a big reason to use olive oil. Number 2, it decreased LDL cholesterol. That's the bad one. And it kept it from oxidizing. So LDL is not necessarily bad, but when it oxidizes, then it forms plaque and it does bad things in your body. And third thing, it moderated blood glucose. You're a diabetic, you should be using olive oil. Number 4, diabetes benefits. Several studies have found that olive oil combined with a good diet, like the Mediterranean diet, can reduce type 2 diabetes and make the insulin that you produce work better because it makes your cells more sensitive to the insulin that your body's producing. And last, number 5, olive oil and Helicobacter pylori. Now that's a bacteria that's a nasty one, and it tends to live in the stomach, and lots of things can cause that to happen. But it is the bacteria that is responsible for a lot of people developing ulcers or other digestive problems. So a human study suggested that 1 ounce of extra virgin olive oil, that's not much, taken daily can eliminate H. pylori infections in 10 to 40% of people. And this is kind of a hard bug to get rid of. And it can happen in as little as 2 weeks. Lab tests showed that olive's phenolic compounds were effective against 8 different strains of H. pylori. I want you to choose your olive oil wisely and make sure that you're buying it from a company that is reputable, because a lot of people are trying to make a profit and cutting their olive oil with cheaper, low-grade things. So how do you know if yours is a good one? Let me give you a couple tests you can do at home. First is the refrigerator test. You put your olive oil in the refrigerator, and within an hour, what should happen? It should turn solid. So you tip it over and there's nothing in there that comes out. If it's partly liquid, more than likely you have some cheaper oils in that olive oil. And next is the taste test. Olive oil should taste unique, and I'll show you the specific things about taste in just a few minutes. So the University of California tested olive oils, and they found a number of them that passed. These brands were good ones. They had 100% extra virgin olive oil in them. And the biggest thing I'll tell you is look for the seal of approval. So California, the Olive Oil Council, has a certification grade. It's called COOC, Certified Extra Virgin Olive Oil. So if that's on the label, you're set. And Italy also has one. It is EVA and Uniprol. Both of those would be good certifications to see on an olive oil container. So my advice is stick with a high quality brand that has a seal of approval from one of these organizations. And let me wrap it up by just going through tests to see if your olive oil is legit. Number one, get a reputable brand with a seal of approval. Number two, it should be in a glass colored bottle. Now why is that? We don't want it going rancid. So sunlight and heat can make this olive oil go bad. The dark bottle and a glass bottle protects that more. The taste, what should good olive oil taste like? It should be a little bitter. Now that is the polyphenols in that. That's the good compound that we want. And after you've swallowed the olive oil, there should be a little peppery taste in the back of your throat. If you want to smell your olive oil, you should smell fruit or vegetable scents. Those two things are a good sign. Or it might even be a little bit grassy smelling. And then lastly, the refrigerator test that I told you about. Your olive oil should be solid if it's been in the refrigerator. And there's a good article about this at aboutoliveoil.org if you want to check out and get more information. Use a good olive oil, but make sure it's a good one.